Pleased to be with everybody today. I'm particularly proud to have Candace Johnson, Dr. Candace Johnson, the President and CEO of Roswell Comprehensive Cancer Center. Roswell has a storied history in cancer research going back more than a century. Many firsts established at Roswell: chemical therapy, the prostate-specific antigen test, critical studies linking smoking to cancer. Candace comes from the research side. She not only directs research, she inspires it in everybody that works at Roswell Park. So many strides have been made. Before the war on cancer was declared, less than 50% of those who were diagnosed lived beyond 5 years of their diagnosis. Today, it's 65% for adults and over 80% for kids. That is a major, major step forward, attributed to the great work of all of those who do cancer research, oncologists, etc., but also to the federal government's commitment to funding groundbreaking research, which has helped to make many, many strides. So we're very, very fortunate to have this very esteemed group of folks, both members of Congress, and those who work in the field of cancer. Roswell Park, just, a moment to brag. In 2009, U.S. News and World Report ranked Roswell 14th in the country out of more than 800 comprehensive cancer centers. Its highest marks were for patient satisfaction, for survival, for technology. And Roswell is a leader in the traditional ways of treating cancer through radiation, through chemical therapy, through surgery, but also in immunotherapy as well. So we're very proud of all of you, and we have strides still in front of us, challenges in front of us. And I'm optimistic about the discussion today, but also about the future of cancer research, because if America doesn't lead, there is no leadership in the world as it relates to cancer research. With that, I'll yield back, sir.
Dr. Johnson, take it away.
Thank you so much. I also would like to thank the House Cancer Caucus, and especially Congressman Higgins, who's in my heart all the time because he's such a wonderful supporter for the cancer cause, not only in Buffalo, New York, but actually across the country. So thank you, all of you, for what you do for us. And I'm honored to be here with Dr. Sharpless and Sharma and Roberts. So, the National Cancer Act really was a significant event. And I think in the 70s, when you were diagnosed with cancer, it was a very different situation. Wasn't talked about, as I think somebody has mentioned. And so, people, they were sort of in the closet. And I think the Cancer Act sort of brought that forward. It's interesting, just historically, Roswell was the first cancer center in 1898. Roswell Park, for those of you that may not know, was not a green space. He was actually a surgeon. So he was a man named Roswell Park. Roswell Park V actually just passed away of multiple myeloma during COVID. So there are generations of Roswell Park dignitaries here in Buffalo, New York. But, Buffalo was a big city in those days. And so when the Cancer Center Act happened and they were designated comprehensive cancer centers, there were 3 that were designated initially: Roswell Park, Memorial Sloan Kettering, and the esteemed MD Anderson. And the cancer centers really have provided, and I think Dr. Roberts said this very nicely, a really great forum, because cancer centers, and if you look even at a map today, they're positioned, they were set up to be centers of excellence for cancer, because everybody recognized this was a very complex disease to treat. It wasn't going to be simple. There was not going to be a cure for all kinds of cancer, but they wanted people to be within a day's drive of an NCI designated center, so that everyone in the United States could have access to this exceptional care. I think that's even true today. In 50 years, we've really accomplished a lot. We've come a long way. But as I think you've heard from the other speakers here today, we have a long way to go. I think one of the things COVID is really, cancer centers, and I know Dr. Sharpless he's really championed this, is cancer centers played a big role in COVID for a whole variety of reasons. We are all organized, we have bright minds, and I think contributed significantly in the COVID epidemic and are continuing to do that. But COVID is really, it's put a spotlight on this health inequities issue with screening, because all of us on this call, we still go to our primary care physicians and get our colonoscopies and our mammography and whatever was required of us to prevent and maintain early detection. But if you're in a disparate population, you're not getting screened, and especially during COVID, when some of the centers in your neighborhoods or some of the ways that you could get screened are shut down. And so we're seeing this, as Dr. Sharpless said, we're seeing some of this, and we're going to be seeing this into the future. And so one of the things that I think is really important to emphasize, and I look to you all in the House Cancer Caucus to help us with this, is a focus on screening, and especially screening in disparate populations. They smoke more than Caucasians, African Americans, Latinx, those populations, they're heavier smokers. They use tobacco more, so they have more lung cancer. And we don't do a very good job in this country at screening, for example, for lung cancer. Congressman Higgins has been really pushing this effort. But I think incentivizing screening programs could really make a huge difference in what we can do going forward, especially for some of these disparate groups. And the other thing is the innovation that we have right now in science, and Dr. Sharma talked about this in the immune system, is really so exciting. And, you know, she talked about some of the phenomenal things that are done involving checkpoint inhibitors and blockades and so forth. But the cellular therapies, CARs, those approaches are also very exciting. And for the first time in some diseases, we're seeing cures that we didn't see before. So continuing to invest in this innovation, and really that's what the NCI does, because without the NCI, you know, we all have our philanthropy efforts that we raise money for pilot studies, and we use monies from our center grants to incentivize scientists and physicians for their crazy ideas that end up like Jim Allison, who won the Nobel Prize. His crazy idea probably started with some pilot funds from some philanthropy, but that's not enough. We need the funds from the NCI. We can give those little pilot funds, but we need support from the NCI. And so you guys, and I know I'm speaking to the choir here because you've been so supportive of all these efforts, but I think we can't lose sight of the cusp that we're on right now with some very innovative science out there and continuing to fund it, and also with a very strong emphasis on screening. I think it's really important as we go forward. So thank you very much.